This video is brought to you by Game Maker, the free, fast, and easy-to-use 2D game engine that helps power modern classics like Undertale, Hotline Miami, and Hyper Light Drifter. Starter templates, official asset bundles, and a wealth of tutorials are available to help bring your ideas to life. And you can export and share your game for free on all non-console platforms. But you don't have to take my word for it, I'm just some jerk. We have an actual bona fide Game Maker on hand.
Oh shit, that's me. Yes, I've been using Game Maker for a long time. It's probably the most powerful and easiest to use engine for making 2D games out there, suitable for both amateurs and hardcore coders, and with all the Steam and console integration stuff for when you're ready to start monetizing your hobbies. I used it to make my recently released game, Starstruck Vagabond, which has already delighted thousands of sci-fi cozy game aficionados thanks to Game Maker being so bloody great.
Head on over to the Game Maker link in the description to begin your game development journey today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Firelink Podcast, episode number 37 for Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. My name is Marty Sleva, as always, joined by Casey Wosu, Nick Calandra, producer Eric. We got a banger of a show for you today, provided by our friends at Game Maker Studio. Thank you so much for powering games like Hotline Miami and Undertale and Yahtzee's games. Thank you, Game Maker.
Whatever Yahtzee's game is called.
Starstruck Vagabond. How rude.
Yahtzee's game. I feel like saying Yahtzee's game means more to our audience than Starstruck Vagabond, right? It's like saying George Lucas's next movie. I don't know he's not the George. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about a topic I just never want to talk about anymore, which is Switch 2 rumors and leaks and reports, which we just need to this is fucking Jesse in Breaking Bad screaming he can't keep getting away with this. Like, they just need to announce this thing.
It just has to come out, like shadow dropping at this point.
So I can move on with my life. We're also going to chat a little bit about Flappy Bird, the hit video game from 2014. It's back. But in very, very sad ways. That is a kind of a gross indicator for where a lot of the industry is going. And then our main topic is just a sort of a big overall chat on EA, the developer, the publisher. A little bit related to an investor call that they had yesterday, where they detailed a bunch of upcoming projects, but just sort of like, what do we think is the current state of EA? Because I feel like a couple years ago they were sort of the punching bag of like EA equals everything wrong with the industry. They've released a lot of cool games in the last few years, in my opinion, and done a lot of good things, also a lot of bad things. And so just chatting about what their future kind of looks like. And then, of course, a bunch of stuff we've been playing. A bunch of rad games around. AAA, AA, single A, lowercase a, negative A.
Quadruple A.
Negative A?
I don't think there's any quadruple A games out right now, are there?
Quintuple A games.
Quintuple? The titular quintuple? How are you guys doing?
Too many A's. I'm doing okay.
That's too many A's. That's where you draw the line.
Like
That's where there's too many A's. Five's a lot of A's. Yeah,
can't be done.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are doing well. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Crying?
I had a really eventful weekend, but I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it until tomorrow. So that sucks for the scheduling of this podcast.
Yeah, you had a work trip.
Yeah,
we can't.
But yeah, we'll probably hear more about that at some point in the future. But yeah, outside of that, just been.
You sent being very vague. You sent a video of a place you were at on like Saturday night, and I was like, where is he? I was like, what is Casey up to? And then I put two and two together, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a real fun trip.
Some people in chat are asking if I have a green screen. No, I am at an Airbnb in Omaha.
That'd be a sick green screen to have that background, though, of just like a random ass home with dogs.
Two random dogs.
Yeah,
it's funny because now that they've said that, I see it. I can see why
it does kind of look
that's a green screen. Yeah,
yeah. You look very much in focus, and like the background is very kind of like soft and fake.
Like just super static.
Yeah.
No, I was at my parents' house last episode, and now I'm at an Airbnb this episode. I'm moving around every week. Actually, I should be here next week. This same spot, this exact same spot in this chair. I will not have moved since the last episode.
You should probably move. You're gonna get some weird warts if you don't. And of course, thank you to everyone who's watching live right now on YouTube, watching the VOD, listening on your podcast service of choice. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate everyone who supports us on places like Patreon, on YouTube, on Twitch. I mean, you're not on Twitch right now because we don't do these podcasts on Twitch. But we just appreciate y'all, including folks like Jewel Rao with a €5 dono. Thank you so much. A tip because you provide hours of entertainment and something. Take the money already, uwu. I do like the uwu.
A little sneaky uwu at the end.
Yeah. A little hidden uwu.
That's one of those internet slangs I've never asked about.
It's just like it's general cuteness they're sending your way. Like they're being like kind of shy and coy and cute. Yeah.
Little anime uwu. You do anime uwus all the time. Don't even.
Yeah, you be oohing like crazy.
You're oohing all revival. Yeah, you
win.
Fakes. Thank you so much for being in the Green Gang for 8 months. EA is trying to behave post antitrust revival. Listen, if I was involved in an antitrust revival, I would also try to behave. Also, EA is not like in terms of the antitrust like sniper red dot. That's all over Microsoft right now. That's not over EA. Yeah. I feel like EA could just sit back and be like, well, at least the ISR isn't on us right now.
There are several companies in front of them.
I was going to say, you better not be hand waving them because they were the start of the season pass.
That's fine. Just don't buy it. Have some self control. Yeah, animals.
Yeah, Marvel Snap, get away from me.
Are you still buying Marvel Snap?
No. I think the last one I bought was like 3 seasons ago.
Don't they do a season every month? Wasn't that just a few months ago?
Yeah, that's not that long ago.
That's like they do like 3-week seasons.
Listen, if I'm not on social media, I gotta have another vice. It's been Marvel Snap.
Drugs. You should do drugs instead. They're cheaper.
Yeah, just do drugs.
Yes.
Hard drugs. Sovereign with a €10 dono. Thank you so much, Sovereign. Damn, can't watch this live, but we'll have to catch the VOD later. Here's some monies for you fine gents before I split. Cheers. Thank you so much, Sovereign.
Thank you.
And SVS Guru with a €5 dono as well. Let's prank Nick and tell him that there's a burglar at the door behind him.
Is that a prank or like a terrorist attack?
That might be a terrorist. Yeah, that might be a bridge too far.
I've got 2 dogs behind me. There's nobody getting in here. They bark at everything.
Your dogs are fucking cop killers that are gonna.
Look at this guy.
Really
Look at him. He's gonna protect me. Right there.
Yeah, you can see it. That killer instinct in his eye.
Yeah. And then before we move on to our first topic, thank you so much, Fat Cock. It is always great to have you in and around us.
Yeah, everybody loves Fat Cock.
Yeah, with a $20 dono. Thank you so much, Fat Cock. All right, boys, now that you gave me your attention, I need to know Xbox, PS5, or PS5 Pro. I only ask because GTA 6 won't launch on PC at first, so I have to get a console unless I want to wait a year for the PC port.
PS5 Pro, then.
I want to spend $700.
Yeah, like that's.
I didn't say
also, this game might not come out for like a year and a half. Like I do not think that game is a 2025 game.
They didn't say what their budget was, so always go for the most expensive thing if you don't know what their budget is.
I disagree with that logic.
I deeply
disagree. His ass and approval.
Like I cannot, in good conscience, recommend the PS5 Pro to anyone because there's just nothing that exists that would take advantage of it at that price point.
Well, I can't recommend it because the way it's shown off, like I just don't know what.
You don't want to see the freckles on people's faces in Final Fantasy VII Remake?
But you can do that now.
No, my thing, like I need to see them side by side. Like me squinting at my phone at 8 a.m. and being like, "Look at the difference in Aerith's dimples." Like I'm not spending $700 on that.
Tough sell.
I do think that GTA 6 coming to consoles first is going to be across the board system sellers. I think it'll probably be the biggest mover of consoles since the launch of them in 2020. That being said, I do think that game will slip to 26.
Yeah, it's a good chance.
Yeah, that's no like secret info or anything. It's just Rockstar never makes their deadlines because it's hard making generational games. So there you go. Speaking of new hardware deadlines and jumping into things, I just want to touch a little bit on the Switch thing, and I just want to move on, and I want to never talk about the Switch again, which is a lie because I love the Switch and I will always talk about it. But it feels like we're close to the reveal or the announcement or the something of the next Switch, to the point where some images and some reports were going around this morning. VGC, who have very, very good reports, very good sources in the industry, covered the fact that here are some possible shots or recreations of what the hardware itself, the handheld hardware, looks like coming from manufacturing factories in China, where supposedly the console is currently being public or manufactured. Yeah. And so it just looks like a Switch. Apparently it's a little bit bigger, which is nice because after playing the Steam Deck, I think the Switch screen could definitely use a little size jump. But if this is accurate, it just means the Super Switch is going to be just a more powerful regular Switch. So assuming if this is going to be accurate, are you guys fine with that? Or would you want to see Nintendo do another curveball where it's like, go back to 2 screens or do something else with this?
No. The Nintendo Switch is fine as is. Just don't fix what isn't broken. Let people trade in their Switches that they have, upgrade to the new Switch, bang, boom, done.
I'm in agreement.
And then Nintendo will resell you games for $60 forever. It's fine.
Like everything had better MFNB backwards compatible on this thing. I swear to God. I better be able to play every single game that I own. But like, yeah, I agree. Like, I think that's all anyone really wanted was just for the Switch, its form factor, its functionality to just be able to do more, like just get more of the current game stuff on that. So I'm a little skeptical that Nintendo is seemingly doing exactly that with the way this looks and is designed. Like, this might be totally false because, like you said, Marty, they might want to be like, nope, get all the whimsy out. Let's go back to square one.
We got to clamshell this boy. We need 2 screens.
Right, like there's just no way to really predict what they'll do.
And they tried to make cardboard VR. We're sticking with Switch. Nothing else is sold. Even Max agrees.
You know what? It was the Labo. The Labo was fun. Yeah, and there's more with this. There was like a bunch of indie and smaller developers who all had some sort of trip/pilgrimage over to Nintendo headquarters in Redmond, Washington the other day. And so people are like, ooh, maybe this is when they're showing it off to developers. And then some game, I should have written it down, but I did not, just was announced like yesterday or the day before. And it said it's coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the next Nintendo console. Which
the new My Time game.
The new My Time game, that was it. Which feels like that was like a bit of like a sneaky little marketing ploy of like people are going to cover this because of this.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, but it works because we're assuming if this thing is out in Q1, Q2 next year, then I mean indie games are obviously finding a lot of success on the regular Switch, so I imagine they will be coming to the next one as well.
I don't know. Nintendo's petty enough to just revoke whatever agreement they had. You're like, oh, you're gonna leak our shit. Now you can't come out on this.
Can't have it. Yeah. Sorry, My Time. You got no more time left. I can see.
I don't. It always seems like when everything kind of starts leaking, that's close to the time that people are starting to see this thing, and people are starting to share little details, and then little things leak out, and blah blah blah. Like
cue montage of us saying this for the past 4 years. This Switch is coming, new Switch is coming, and Xbox is finally turning the corner.
I think we're at least getting like more concrete leaks than just a detailed sheet of specs. But I'm not going to put a date on it because I don't want Jessica Lena to come in and yell at me again.
Hashtag Jesse was right.
Jesse didn't make a prediction. You can't be right.
No, he predicted that everything you predicted would be wrong.
He predicted that we were full of shit, and it turns out we were full of shit. So, yeah. What were you going to say about the Switch itself?
No, that this form, like this slightly bigger form factor, like it really is starting to just resemble a Steam Deck.
Good.
And like, yeah, like that kind of goes to show you that Valve was maybe in the right direction with their iteration on this. If Nintendo was maybe sticking with this form factor,
I think
they'll. I'm skeptical.
I think Nintendo will sort of Goldilocks and the Three Bears it if like the Switch is the base of it and the Steam Deck is like, ooh, maybe you went a little too far into computer. Maybe this is going to be like a lighter, thinner, take on that. And still, the reports are that the power is somewhere between a PS4 Pro and an Xbox Series S, which for Nintendo and indie games and relatively simple third-party ports seems pretty fun to me. Especially if it's got that DLSSR on the dock. It's got some fancy up-resing thing.
Might have been too many S's.
Or not enough S's. There's really no way to know. Really no way to know. So yeah, we'll have more on that moving forward. And then the other news story we just wanted to chat about was well, I guess I wanted to chat about it. I don't know if anyone else wanted to chat about this. Flappy Bird is a game that I like hold in a lot of not regard, but like is like a very, if I had to like come up with a list of the from the past decade, the like 10 most interesting games with stories around them, Flappy Bird might be one of them, in the fact that it just absolutely took over the mobile market about 10 years ago. And then after assumingly making a lot of money, its creator Dong Nguyen just posted that he like regretted making this thing. It's caused him nothing but suffering, and he's pulling it down, and he is never going to make a game again. And it was true, which was wonderful.
Yeah, we've just not heard from him since.
And I absolutely loved until just a few days ago, a company that is now known as the Flappy Bird Foundation, led by a guy named Michael Roberts, has suddenly came out and said Flappy Bird's coming back, and oh my god, it's gonna be better than ever, and it's coming everywhere, and you should all be very excited. And then people dug a little bit into this, and it turns out that Michael Roberts is a big old NFT crypto guy, and there's a lot of NFT crypto stuff like it went like in this announcement, and then sort of like when people were digging down into the website and everything. And it turned out that this foundation, the Flappy Bird Foundation, acquired the license from a company called Game Tech Holdings, which they somehow gobbled up the trademark because it had lapsed and become abandoned. And so this is pretty much just like the creator was like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. The trademark eventually, was abandoned, and this company kind of scooped it in and is trying to shove in all of the worst things in the world.
They were waiting for this
a little bit, or saw the opportunity, or folks like Patrick Klepek, a video game reporter, has been like trying to cover this and like constantly badgering this company and being like, what does the original creator say? What does the original creator say? And he finally came out and was like, I have nothing to do with this game. I did not know this existed. I think crypto is bad. And that was all he said. And so it is, it's just really interesting to see. I don't know.
That's like peak corporate cynical capitalism, America.
Yeah.
That is like, if you're gonna put like a bumper on that current age of video games, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the most cynical garbage I can think of that would come out of all this. Like a nice story of a guy made a game. Well, I guess not entirely nice for him, but nice story of a guy made a game, made a bunch of money, said, I'm done. I had my time with it. And now it's like reanimating a corpse yet again.
Yeah.
This money grubbing nonsense.
I mean, the original story wasn't necessarily like all like cupcakes and rainbows, right? Like he was constantly being badgered about like supposedly stealing the assets because the pipes look like Mario pipes. So I think that like that sort of stuff was like a lot of his headache, was that people were like badgering him about him essentially being like a thief or a
asset
fraud,
flipping and making a shit ton of money off it.
Right? Yeah.
No, it was, I mean, Yeah, it's a very cheap, cynical mobile game as it is.
I mean, yeah, like the fact that it grew to such notoriety is in and of itself sort of just insane. But the thing is, like, if no one has owned Flappy Bird for like the last 10 years, why is it in like all of these Dave and Buster's and stuff? Because like you see that thing everywhere still.
It's in Dave and Buster's.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, there's like a big version.
arcade version of it. Yeah.
Isn't that like
somebody's
Dave and Buster's all?
soon.
Dave and Buster's does those, like, so many of the games there now are like big old
like
versions
just mobile
like,
games.
Rope,
Yeah.
Where's my water? Like that.
Yeah,
kind of
Fruit
thing.
Ninja, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They just make big arcade versions of it. So like who gets paid for that? And like how does that relate to this now that this crypto company has snatched up the like it's a very confusing thing that I don't know. It's still interesting. I'll say that much.
Who do you think's gonna be more upset, Dave or Buster?
Buster. He's known to have a temper.
Yeah,
That's why he raps so fast.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Buster Rhymes.
interesting trademark battle, I guess.
Yeah, it's I'd be fine if I never heard about Flappy Bird again for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting, like, I don't know. It's we talk about like wanting games to come back and wanting things to be preserved and wanting to revisit moments in the past, and like sometimes it works well. Like sometimes like Sony just added Skygunners and Mr. Mosquito to PlayStation Plus, 2 games I never thought would be there. Mr. Mosquito especially, which is like a little pervert game where you're a mosquito and you're just flying around a family's home trying to suck them dry while they're in the tub. And Sony added it to PlayStation Plus, which is great.
All right.
Part of their history.
It's part of their history. It's an astrobot. Yeah, it's a little mosquito. He's trying to suck them dry. And so I'm always pro that, or Nintendo just adding a bunch of weird shit to Switch Online, or I don't know, anything like that. But then you get something like this, and you're like, ooh, this is not the way to, I guess, preserve gaming history. Or
is this somewhat?
This company probably paid jack shit for that trademark and is going to
right? Yeah, because he
and then get out.
abandoned it.
Yeah.
No.
Probably paid $10 for the trademark. Shit, we should have bought it.
Is this a little bit his fault? Should he, even though he abandoned it, have a little more due diligence so that no one else could use it for evil? I mean, he completely washed his hands of it. So
yeah, that's the cynical part of me says like, yeah, you completely wash your hands of it. Like this is what can happen. You know, it's like
it's a lesson learned.
Like Winnie the Pooh going not open source, but
public domain.
Public domain, and now people get to make all those crappy, weird horror movies.
Yeah, they always go to
victim
horror
blame
movies.
Winnie the Pooh.
The people that make those movies are fucked up. It's just like I've been waiting years to make this slasher movie of Winnie the Pooh. Because there's like a dark ass like Peter Pan movie coming out too, isn't there?
Yeah,
Probably.
Peter Pan's kind of dark though. When you think about it, he's just like
yeah, I guess
he's just like wandering into kids' bedrooms.
He steals your shadow.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's just that's some
the
Kingdom Hearts nonsense
tooth
there.
fairy
wild.
steals your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. We're gonna be following the Flappy Bird news very, very closely. No, we're not. We probably won't talk about Flappy Bird ever again. So, but there you go. There's your little Flappy update. Let's move on to our main topic, which is EA. I'm putting a little link to Kotaku article that just summed up a lot of the stuff during their Investor Day presentation. But they just went over a bunch of stuff that they have upcoming in the pipeline, and we wanted to just take that and kind of extrapolate it out to other games EA is making, and just what we've thought of EA over the past couple of years, because it feels like we've done this with Sony recently, and we've done this with Microsoft recently, but it's interesting to look at where EA is kind of outside their, well, every year we're going to get a Madden, and we're going to get a
FIFA we'll get a
FC.
FIFA.
The FC, yeah,
FC now.
Yeah, but a couple of the big highlights from their presentation were that, unsurprisingly, a third and quote final Star Wars Jedi game from Respawn is in development to wrap up Cal's trilogy. That's not surprising. Those games have sold and performed very well, and Respawn's obviously great at making them. There was also updates on Skate, the Skate reboot or sequel that they've said is coming to early access in early 2025, and that is a game it had a bunch of playtests over the last couple of years, so it's not super exciting that's hopefully coming relatively soon. We then got a bunch of Battlefield news, which I know is exciting for you, Nick. And Battlefield is now sort of under the umbrella of Vince Zampella, the founder of Respawn, one of the sort of architects of Modern Warfare 1 and 2, who went on to found Respawn and Titanfall and Apex and everything. Now moving to kind of oversee the Battlefield franchise as it's lost its luster, and EA is clearly like, oh, we can bring this back somehow. And how are we going to do that? And they said it is sort of a return to form. They want the next Battlefield game to feel more like Battlefields 3 and 4, which arguably were probably the most, maybe like at the series most popular Zenith, and that they have separate studios working on the single player portion of the game, the multiplayer portion of the game, and then a brand new mode, which I assume will be Battle Royale of some sorts, a free-to-play Battle Royale thing. And then other small things like that they are not making The Sims Part 5. However, they're going to continue on The Sims 4 with expansions and DLC and everything. And also they did, again, clarify that Margot Robbie is producing a Sims movie.
Yeah.
Which
What the hell is a Sims movie?
what the hell is a Barbie movie? And that made $1 billion and got nominated for Oscars. So
I feel like it's very obvious with Margot Robbie attached as well that the Sims movie is going to be this kind of meta commentary where like you just watch a family live their life for like the first 30 minutes and then they slowly realize that someone else is in control of all their decisions.
Someone took the ladder out of the swimming pool.
Yes, I mean that's got to be in there.
How do we get out?
The part I want to see is if they actually use dialogue or if they just use weird noises,
Simlish.
and then it's all subtitled.
Yeah, there you go. And then
get real avant-garde with it. I support this.
And then a few other things that they didn't touch on, but stuff we know is that obviously Dragon Age: The Veilguard from BioWare is coming out on Halloween, so that's only a month and a half away. Mass Effect, the sequel / reboot, is in development. They have a handful of Marvel projects, including EA Motive, the Dead Space developers, doing an Iron Man game, and Cliffhanger, a new Seattle-based studio, doing a Black Panther game, which is separate from the Captain America Black Panther World War II game, which Amy Hennig's team is doing, and we saw a little bit of last year. And the other note I had was just it seems like EA originals are kind of slowing down, or at least there's none that have been announced so far after stuff like Tales of Kanzera and Mortals of Avium.
Yeah, Mortals of
I'm
Avium.
a little worried they might be. And then they had stuff like Wild Hearts. Like it seems like since It Takes Two, they haven't had a like EA Originals hit. And I'm a little worried that they're going to sunset that. But I have no info on that. But just judging by the last couple games,
it does seem a little rough. Like It Takes Two definitely was like a big one for them. But I'm trying to think prior to that, like what was like the previous EA Originals that was like a hit.
I mean, they were all very small, relatively small. It was like Unravel. It was
and that got a sequel.
It was Faye. It was like Lost in Random. It was these small games that were. I think the fact that like Wild Hearts and Immortals of Avium were like ostensibly felt like AAA games.
Yeah,
so
those seemed pretty expensive in comparison to some of the other ones. Yeah.
The started going downhill with the Rocket Arena. They kept trying to do live service games to that EA Originals. So they kind of started just publishing outside games using EA Originals with a lot more money involved, and then they did not sell it at all. And so between Wild Hearts, Immortals of Avium, the Rocket Arena.
I didn't know. I forgot Knockout City was EA. That was sad because that game was really fun.
That one failed too. So any original live service or those big AAA kind of things did not sell well.
Yeah, which makes
even Wild Hearts was supposed to have like they did like a year's worth of content, I think, updates, but they already stopped.
Yeah, like why? And I don't get it because that game is on par. Like that is as fun a Monster Hunter clone as you can get without just being Monster Hunter, and like it just didn't move the needle.
And it especially landed like at a perfect time, like smack dab in the middle of major Monster Hunter releases, right? It was like way before Wilds came out, so like it felt like that could have been the one that got people, and for some reason or another, it just didn't.
There seems to be an audience that just does not want to leave Monster Hunter because Dauntless is free to play too, and they've been working on that for years. And Phoenix Labs, the developers of that, had to lay off a bunch of people recently and canceled projects because like Dauntless isn't doing great. So I don't know. I don't think they're like just a real competitor to Monster Hunter yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, EA's had interesting, like, nobody's been mad at them for a while, which, maybe outside of the sports games, but people are always mad about the sports games. But as far as their like upcoming lineup goes, it seems like they've really like stopped trying to make everything a live service. I mean, they're really going back to the single player pool of things with Jedi, the upcoming Jedi game now, Dragon Age. I think Battlefield's even going to have single player again, is what they've been saying. Skate going to early access is interesting.
I think that's a good call.
It's probably a good call. I'm trying to. Is that like the first like major AAA publisher game to just say we're going straight into early access and not try to play this bullshit of we're going to be a live service game and launch 2 years from now? And really,
I mean, having plenty of Microsoft games launched in early access.
Game preview, I guess.
Yeah,
but even those were like smaller projects, like Grounded and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Skate's not a big project. I can't imagine its teams.
It's been in development forever.
But Skate would probably be at the same level as something like a Grounded.
Yeah,
like in terms of like
they're similar.
But to me, it seems like Skate would be a big live service project for them. They're going to keep adding to it.
Imagine they will. I just don't think it's like it's not like the team behind like Skull and Bones or something.
No. Of course not. So,
I
don't know.
Yeah, and Eric brought up a good point too, that the EA brought back the college football game earlier this year, and it is one of the best selling games of the year.
Yeah, people wait on that.
Yeah.
I get why people were excited for it. It just seems like a reskin of Madden to me, and I can't understand. Like, I used to buy those games every year. And now, like, because EA's pissed me off so many times with NHL, I'm like, I'll wait 3 years until I buy the next one.
I mean, that's the thing, is that they haven't had a college football game in so long, so the fans they did wait. And even if it was a reskin of Madden, it was a reskin of a Madden that they haven't had in a decade plus. So I get why that one was so good.
Oh yeah, no, I get why it sold well. It's just like my logic brain is like,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at least the college players get money for their likeness now, so that's cool.
Yeah, so it paved the way.
Yeah, so they get money. But the Battlefield stuff is what really excited me. One, I trust Vin Zampella. Like, I don't think he's put out a game that I haven't liked. And then basically in the investor calls and all that, he was saying all the right things, going back to modern combat, going back to 64-player maps, getting rid of specialists, they're sticking with classes again, and just getting back to the roots of what made Battlefield good, which is just that fun sandbox gameplay, and not this like ultra trying to go down the classes route and hero shooter junk and all that. Just let Battlefield be Battlefield, and I fully trust Vin Zampella to do that. Now, it needs to launch in a technically polished state, because that's the problem with every Battlefield game in the past decade. They don't launch polished. But again, Vin Zampella in charge I don't think he's ever launched a game that wasn't polished. Like Call of Duty's always been polished. Titanfalls were polished.
Yeah, Apex Legends came out of the gate
polished. Yeah, like that dude knows how to launch a game.
Like fully functional.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, it's sort of, it feels like it's been, if you've only paid attention to the games over the last couple of years, like, Battlefield doesn't seem like that big of a thing. It's almost like when Halo came out, and it was like, if you've only talked about Halo post 4, like, you don't realize how big Halo was. And so it is always curious, like, how long of a span can go by before something can capture its, like, former glory. And I feel like the things are set up here, but I'll be curious to see if it happens. Just because the multiplayer shooter landscape is way different than it was 10 years ago when Battlefield was.
There's still
near
nothing,
the top of the hill.
Yeah, there's still nothing really like Battlefield out, because what was the pixel art one, or the voxel one, Battle Bit, that came out and like took the world for a little bit.
Yeah.
And like that was just basic Battlefield back to the basics in voxel form, and that thing took over the internet for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
So there's like a hunger.
Yeah, oh
for
yeah, there's
this.
absolutely a hunger for it because even in the indie market with stuff like Hell Let Loose and all that, none of it really hits that kind of arcade feel that Battlefield hits. They're all mil sim or arcade sim is what I would call it, but nothing nothing on the scale of Battlefield and all that. When Battlefield hits, Battlefield fucking hits.
Casey, what's your sort of temperature check on EA at the moment?
Yeah, like I always thought it was kind of ridiculous how much flack EA got, like being voted worst company in the world, like how were it 2 years in a row? Like they made some very questionable business decisions, but they were never like that bad in my mind. And to that note, it seemed like they did at the very least take that beating to heart because they kind of slowed down on a lot of that just openly anti-consumer behavior, and then kind of got back to just trying to make games good, but they kind of were failing at that. So like they were still kind of getting beat up. So it's been a rough go for EA as of late, but like slowly but surely they've been trying to win that favor back, and they've been kind of doing all the right things. Like they're putting money behind indie games. They're taking chances on third parties and publishing stuff that are quality games, but they're brand new IPs like Wild Hearts, for example. And the stuff just isn't hitting. So like it's really discouraging to kind of look at the state that they're in now and be like, dang, like I am rooting for EA to make this comeback, but it seems like nothing they are trying to do is working out for them. So now the only stuff they have left now are a couple other big hitters. Like we know the Dragon Age is supposed to be a big deal, so that absolutely needs to hit hard. Mass Effect has been a big fumble on their end as well, and we know that that's something that's in the periphery down the road as well that they've talked about in the past. I don't know if it's over for that. Like it might be too little too late for Mass Effect series. It would need to come out and be like amazing, I think, to like recapture people at this point. But yeah, like they don't have anything new. They're going back to basic, which is what the rhetoric of all the big companies has been in terms of like, hey, let's shore up, let's circle our wagons or whatever, and then let's just put the most money and energy behind the stuff that we know has worked before. But for EA, all of those things have not worked like the last time. So like it's a little worrying.
Part of that was them just chasing the live service trend on all those games that they shouldn't have been chasing. Like
Absolutely.
They put BioWare on Anthem live service. Battlefield 2042 was built around live service before a Battlefield game didn't work. So back to basics, exactly where they need to go. And
it's also scary because a lot of their studios are their eggs are in IP baskets, where it's Star Wars games or Marvel games, and those aren't guaranteed hits. Like the Jedi games obviously have been critically and I think commercially very successful, but we've definitely seen Marvel games come and go, and so who knows if
Outlaws hasn't sold that well either from the sound of it.
Outlaws is really good. I don't know why people aren't buying them. Fucking buy Outlaws. What are you doing? Just lean against a bar and just look at people. We don't have enough games where you can lean against a bar and look at people.
It's real
one
life.
interesting, yeah. So we're 6 weeks. Tomorrow is 6 weeks away from Dragon Age coming out, and I didn't realize Dragon Age Inquisition is the best-selling BioWare game ever.
Ooh,
sold 14 million copies. Like everyone forgets about that game.
That
Won a bunch
sold-
of Game of the Years 10 years ago.
yeah, I didn't realize that sold more than Mass Effect.
It's crazy, right? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it was just like it came out in 2014 when everyone was like all horned up for Game of Thrones, and so like this is Game of Thrones. Also a little bit after, like it was around that like Witcher orbit, so maybe it got some of that Witcher zest to it.
Yeah, they literally marketed like the side quest like being inspired by The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean after
it was before The Witcher 3 though. It came out in 2014, and Witcher 3 was 2015.
Look, I don't know what happened then.
Oh, that's fine.
But
Sorry,
yeah, no, Anthem just like really screwed that company up.
Yeah. So
Really
again, that's one of those other things like Battlefields. Like, do y'all remember when like BioWare was like King of the Hill for a while? Like they were not King of the Hill. Like, though a BioWare King of the Hill game. Write that down. Maybe if they can get the license for King of the Hill, the
like Hank Hill,
everyone's favorite Fox animated isekai, then they could try that out.
I mean, we don't know what Mike Judge is doing right now. It's possible.
Probably work on BioWare's King of the Hill. Yeah, and so like, yeah, I don't know. It is. I do hope they're still taking shots at weird unknown things, because even though some of them haven't hit, like that gave us It Takes Two, and I want more of that. But
I doubt Hazelight even needs a publisher for their next game.
no, I don't mean
they made so much
necessarily
money off
Hazelight. I
that.
just mean like
Yeah, in general, yeah, I know what you
funding
mean.
things like that. But then after, like we said, Wild Hearts and Immortals of Avium, like those just don't seem like those are the kind of games that they should have been.
Good news for you. My unpack script talks all about this a little bit for next week.
Did you
Good news
guys?
for me. I already read it.
Yeah, I know. Speaking to the audience, but yeah, I mean, like Casey said it earlier, they're like the big AAA publishers are definitely falling back to the stuff that has worked, and like all these live service games have gotten canned for the most part. Even Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Shadows, like really getting back to basics, but also keeping what people have liked about the new Assassin's Creed games in there. They've got the Splinter Cell remake coming, they've got Prince of Persia remake coming. Like
I'm
Microsoft,
really excited for AC Shadows.
Yeah, I am too. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Especially all the stealth stuff that they've re-added back in, and all we talked about it on a podcast a few podcasts ago, but like all the little gameplay details they've really added into that game. So
I
don't know.
There's weather everywhere. I just want to go to everywhere with different seasons. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. I just want like the AAA publishers to be consistent again. And I really do feel like Concord was the death knell for like live service stuff from EA, Ubisoft, Sony, Microsoft in that realm, because like there's NetEase and stuff like that are like built. Their entire models are built around live service games. But even those companies are getting back into single player stuff too. Like they've got their cash cows through their live service things, and now they're going back to funding smaller projects that they can actually make their money back on. Because
It's funny you say that though.
Pearl Abyss with Black Desert, like Crimson Desert, they took all that money from Black Desert and they're putting it in Crimson Desert, and it's a single player RPG.
Should be putting it in Dokuvi, whatever the hell that is.
Absolutely, should be putting it in
2028.
But it's funny you say that about everyone kind of getting out of the live service game, because somebody, I don't remember who, just announced an anime girl gotcha battle royale.
Miyamoto. It was you, Miyamoto.
I mean, if that's coming from the East, I feel like the East handles live service games much better than the West. Weirdly,
maybe
enough.
Yeah,
because they love their gotcha mechanics. They love, like, people buy that, lap that stuff up there, where the West just doesn't as much.
So maybe this is a good way to walk into this story that literally just broke while we were talking about EA stuff. But Wario64, famed Twitter user. I just literally the only person worth following on Twitter, just posted a news story from Nintendo's Japanese corporate website saying that Nintendo with the Pokemon Company have filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocketpair Inc. Pocketpair, the developers of Pal World. Which came out earlier this year. The lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Pal World, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years.
So
I kept expecting this to drop, because when everyone was like, "Oh, Nintendo's going to sue them," and then they didn't. It like February rolled around, they're like, "Oh, Nintendo's not going to sue them," and I'm like, "No, Nintendo's just going to dot all the i's and cross all the t's."
Yeah, Nintendo's going to super sue them.
If Nintendo's going to be like, "Oh, you in Fargo, North Dakota, are holding a Smash Melee tournament using slightly modified versions of the games, we can't allow that to happen." If Nintendo is that petty, Nintendo is this petty. I am curious of what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's on patents that they didn't mention like creature designs or anything. So are they patenting their creature designs?
I mean,
I would assume so.
What would you patent out of that?
Little critters.
Can you patent? You can't patent an art style. Interesting. That's a very interesting one I want to follow, because like I'm curious. It must be a mechanic or something.
I mean, they don't really share Mechanics.
The thing that comes to mind right away is the Pokeball, because you do throw balls in every.
But there
other...
are tons of games that have had a version of that, like a cube
but
or
not,
a cassette.
but not balls. It's the balls.
You think the ball is the issue?
Well, yeah, because
that's
think
possible.
about it. Think about it. Temtem is cards. Cassette Beast is cassettes.
Monster Rancher, you're just shoving CDs into their mouth.
Oh man, did Pokemon patent balls? Oh no.
My balls are definitely Pokemon patent.
Speakeasy says spheres. It's still a ball. The sphere is a ball, right?
A sphere.
All spheres are balls, but not all balls are spheres.
Oh no, this is coming back to. Oh no, they're opals.
I mean, some of them. Football's a ball, but it's not a sphere. Yeah, they're suing Pocketpair, which is fascinating.
Yeah,
so
this
World's not coming to Switch too.
Yeah, I figured at some point they would find a way to sue them, just not over actual creature designs.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, we have no other details in the story other than the fact that it just dropped.
Like, with the exception of Lucario in that image that Eric just pulled up, I could not tell you which of the side by sides are the Pokemon and not the Pokemon.
Only if someone was in Smash.
It's Smash Bros, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not great. Well, there you go. Good for Nintendo. We're always rooting behind the little guy.
Oh, you.
Pocketpair is also not the little guy anymore, so
no.
Fucking let them fight.
I mean, it's interesting because Pocketpair, at least their CEO, has been pretty openly like against the idea that this is what they've been doing, and like his commentary in terms of just the state of the industry has been somewhat refreshing. And like where he's saying like, hey, don't focus so much on like player numbers. Hey, play the stuff that you want to play. You don't have to be, glued to this game. You can play other games and come back later. Like, it's all fine. Like a real kind of casual attitude to like this fear, which is un-CEO like.
There's someone who's made millions of dollars off stealing.
Wait. Have you actually read this guy's interviews?
Well, yeah, like when he eventually he was inspired by like Nintendo and stuff, but him.
No, he's not inspired by. He sort of says, I just look at what's popular and then I make games from it.
Like mash the ideas together.
Yeah, he's as corporate cynical as you get. He just masks it better.
I mean, it's a pretty good mask. You gotta.
It is. He knows how to make money.
Casey, are you thinking of their CEO or are you thinking of just their social media presence? Because they have a very
their social media presence very
social media presence.
Is their CEO not? Oh, am I thinking of Helldivers? No, Helldivers has a persona online.
No. You are thinking the CEO. He said all those things, but also like he literally comes from a finance background, and he just looks at like the market research and like that's how we're gonna make our game. He's as cynical as you get. He's just looking to make money.
Yeah, he just acquired the rights to Power.
He just knows how to talk.
Flappy Bird. I was gonna make a Flappy Bird joke.
They're gonna make Flappy Bird.
Yeah, I'd check out what's going on with Flappy Bird. I'd see what's going on over there on that corner.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not great.
He used to be a crypto dude too. Yeah, like this dude is out to make money.
He chases a buck. Yeah,
yeah, which is fine. You can do that, but he also plays the nice guy.
Tales from the crypto. Tales from the crypto.
Tales from the crypto.
Yeah.
I'm. My beef with this is that my biggest gripe with Nintendo and Pokemon has been their reluctance to do anything risky with it. And like Power, regardless of how they got there, put guns and human trafficking in a Pokemon game. And it's like, can we get some of this energy in this space? So like I do want to like applaud that, because that does shake up the foundation of how that world works, because a lot of the other copycats stick very close to what Nintendo does, and it's unappealing.
They sell well.
No, do they?
Yeah,
like Temtem and
Temtem sold very well, just not well enough to keep it going as a live service forever.
That would mean it didn't sell well, though.
Well, it sold well. It just didn't keep its player base engaged enough.
No, it didn't sell well because there were no players and it shut down.
It's not a real world. You can't stop arguing over what sells well means.
Fine, we'll argue over player counts instead.
Also,
does the game exist? I think that is.
If I was still in the news writing the video game news writing business, the strapline would be Pokemon Snapped. And the fact that no one has
that's
used
nice.
Pokemon Snapped yet as a strapline.
Did you search it? You search for that?
No, I didn't search it. I
Well,
just
they're-
assumed no one's used it. No one could be as clever as me.
They're bringing that big new trading card game to mobile though. For Pokemon.
Big new trading card game.
They're literally bringing the Pokemon trading card game to mobile soon.
Stop
And-
calling
yeah,
it.
I've heard
First
about
off,
that.
you gotta stop calling it Pokemon, because that's what.
What's it called?
Pokemon.
Oh, because I'm
Poke.
adding because
It's a
I'm emphasizing
Oh,
the
Softy.
Pokemon
Yeah,
is
Softy.
what like Pokemon is
Pokemon.
what like news anchors and grandpas call it. It's just Pokemon.
Fine.
I heard a news anchor
They were
pronounce
literally
it Pokemon.
How did you miss this? They were advertising it all over PAX West.
What the No, I said that I saw
You
that.
Oh,
know
okay.
thing is coming to. It's just not that. It's not like a new card game. It's just Pokemon TCG
It's
is coming
the
to.
card game. Yeah.
But they're making it vertical. I can't play other card games on the mobile because they want me to play horizontal. And Marvel Snap is good because it's vertical. That's the only reason it's good.
You're a piece of shit. Far less than too many frogs with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Far less than too many frogs. What does far less than too many frogs mean? I said it twice and then I was like, what does that even mean? But thank you so much for a $5 dono. Switch to needs backwards compatibility.
Absolutely.
Yes. 1,000%. And it will have it. And if it doesn't, I'll burn my house down and move into the woods. There you go. Also, excited for the Legend of Zelda game where you can actually play as Zelda. So am I. I'm really stoked for that. That comes out in like a week and a half.
That's
Echoes
soon.
of wisdom.
Huh.
Why didn't
Echoes
they
of
call that
wisdom.
game? They should have called that game The Legend of Link, and then you would have known right away you're playing Zelda.
Yeah, but bad SEO. Bad SEO. And then Fat Cock back with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Fat Cock. Appreciate you. Mike is working on a reboot of King of the Hill. Mike Judge.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yes.
Oh, I don't want to show set.
Everything's
modern
rebooted
Texas.
and
I don't want modern rural Texas. That's just
oh god.
Yeah. And then Will Cooling with a £2 dono. Thank you so much, Will. Good to see you. Great to hearing y'all banter away again, gents. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Will.
Thank you.
Great to see you as well. Y'all want to talk about what we've been playing, watching, eating? Elbow dropping?
You called me a piece of shit. I don't want to talk.
Did I? I'm sorry.
That was like years.
I was
minutes-
in the
2 minutes ago.
moment. I was in the moment. I was in the groove.
Now I'm gonna say Pokemon out of spite.
That's
The
fine.
fuck
You're
is
the
this
one who sounds
background,
ignorant.
Nintendo's gonna
You're the one who
sue
sounds
you.
ignorant. You're the one who
That's
sounds
a-
ignorant.
that's the
Because I
king of
said
the
it
background.
wrong. They didn't trademark Pokemon. They traded Pokemon.
All right, if you guys aren't going to talk about what you've been playing, I'm going to talk about what I've been playing. Let me tell you. I've
Yeah,
been
what you
a couple
playing?
games. I finished Astrobot. Got all my little Astros. That's a game of the year contender. That's a top fiver for me.
Okay.
It's platforming is it's joyful. It is wonderful. It is continually like creatively awe-inspiring. Every time I would get to a new level with a new mechanic and a new little gimmick, I would just smile. It was just like a little joy factory, and then combine that with the fact that it is this constant like dopamine rush of PlayStation nostalgia, and not in a I want to say not in a gross way. I'm still like reconciling with how I feel about it. It has the same reverence that a Smash does. And I think Smash's reverence is very honest. Like Smash Ultimate, its reverence to Nintendo history is very honest, and video gaming history.
Yeah.
And clearly from Sakurai and clearly from the developers at Asobi. It is frustrating that it's like, look at all these amazing games that Sony has completely left by the wayside in favor of a handful of franchises, including Horizon Zero Dawn, which is apparently getting a remaster.
Yeah.
What are we doing there? But just running around that like central hub once I finished the game and seeing all of my the little characters I've unlocked, and like having that be a 30-year trip through PlayStation history was wonderful, and one of my favorite video game experiences of the year. So highly, deeply recommended.
Yeah, I'm excited to
Nice.
get home and play it at some point down the future.
Yeah,
None of them are.
nice shorty, just a lot of fun. Yeah,
Mm.
highly recommended. 2 other indie games I've been playing. I finished The Plucky Squire, which just came out. We'll have a bite-sized review from Rachel up on it in the near future. And I think Yahtzee's probably checking it out for some sort of
Mhm.
ZP adjacent thing, maybe.
Yeah.
This is the game from a former, speaking of the Pokemon Company, a former artist at the Pokemon Company. This is an indie game that was announced at a Devolver Digital Direct a few summers back. That is a sort of like a whimsical top-down storybook Zelda light game where your character can escape the book and move around the 3D world, like the desk that the book is on, and jump into a cup that's near the desk and walk around that world, and then jump into like a Magic the Gathering card, and like the art style kind of switches to that. It is it's relatively short. I was able to beat it in like 8 hours or so. The first half I think is just incredibly charming, and like I was just smiling all the time. I do think it kind of waded into the shallow ends of its ideas, and the back half didn't impress me nearly as much as the front half did, and I was left a little wanting, like a little wishing that they had pushed further into this idea, because I do think it is a very cool core conceit. It just didn't quite land with me. The story doesn't have all that much going on, and it kind of stops showing new ideas as it goes on. But it's I believe it's out now for almost everything, and it's part of PlayStation Plus. So I recommended it, just even if you play it for a little bit, just for that. And then the last thing I've been playing, which just came out today, is UFO 50. Which is a new indie game from Mossmouth, the developer of Spelunky 1 and 2. And this is a game that was announced a few years ago, and it is 50 complete games that are all in sort of an 8-bit styling of completely different genres. It has platformers, it has puzzle games, it has dungeon crawlers, it has like you name it, like beat 'em ups. But these are all fake games. And so like the conceit is, oh, you found this console that has 50 games that were made throughout the 80s, like starting in like 82 and going to 89. And you can play the games in any order you want. You can jump between them. You can play them chronologically. And so you're seeing this almost like fake history of a video game console from the 80s, but through the lens of folks who've made, some of the best modern throwback games, i.e. Spelunky. I've only played about an hour of it this morning. I jumped into a couple of the games, but it is crazy that apparently just every game is like a full NES-ish game. Like this is not like bite-sized WarioWare kind of things. These are literally full games. It is a full golf game, a full puzzle game, a full dungeon crawling game, a full Mega Man-esque platformer. These are like full 50 full games.
Like this is so intriguing that someone would bother to like stick with this conceit of hey, this is just some publisher's back catalog that we have all collectively forgotten somehow. I'm curious though, with it actually being made by people who have experienced a lot of stuff like this, like are any of the stuff that you've played at least reminiscent of stuff that you remember, like, oh, this is like a spin on this game, or are they really hitting on things that are like, oh, this is like a totally new thing just in an 8-bit style?
Yeah, I've only played 4 of the games so far, but they feel like the sports games of the 80s. They feel like the River City Ransom, Kunio-kun beat 'em ups of the 80s. They feel there's one that feels like Bionic Commando, of like how you're using sort of a rope grappling hook to traverse different levels. So it does feel like there was legitimate thought into all, at least the 4 I've played, but maybe the rest of the 46 of them. Yeah, I mean, the one thing is going to be your mileage may vary. Like if you don't have patience for the bullshittery of games in the 80s.
Right. And with that being said, like this isn't acting as if it's like a new age collection of those old games. So like there's no like quality of life things added on, right? Like fast forwarding
that I've seen, no.
No, okay.
And I will even say that like I'm like a medium old, to where like the 16-bit generation, the Super Nintendo generation is that's my childhood generation. And so this is going like even a little earlier than my comfort zone. And so as of right now, I am appreciating it very much for the effort. I don't know if I'm going to play all 50 of these games. I mean, I want to try all 50 of the games.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if I can play them all to completion. And Speakeasy, to answer you, I don't think this has a meta "this console is haunted" kind of thing going on. As far as I know, this is not like Inscription or anything like this. It's not like a spooky pasta, creepy pasta. Oh, I like spooky pasta.
Spooky pasta.
It's not a spooky pasta where it's like, oh, what happened? What happened to this forbidden console? It's just like here's 50 fake games that we've sort of created an alternate history of. Yeah,
hey, that's really cool.
Yeah, and again, just something I'm happy exists. Yeah. What have you guys been playing? Casey, what have you been playing?
So yeah, again, like I was away over the weekend, so I can't really talk about what I've been playing other than Zone Zero because I've never stopped. But when the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta went live, we were supposed to stream it that week, and just we never did. But a couple of my friends were also trying to try it out, so like I jumped in some matches with them, and I had a surprising amount of fun.
Nice.
Like I've not really played a Call of Duty, especially like a online Call of Duty in any real capacity for a long time. But the new hook with this they're talking about is the Omni movement system, and it's as simple as just letting you shoot all 360 degrees around you from any position, like whether you're in a jump, whether you're laying down prone, and in order to achieve this, they've done something that I feel like now that they're doing it is like, why do we take so long to do this? You can run in any direction.
Yeah.
Like you can sprint sideways and you can sprint backwards. And from the sprint position, you can just hit the dive button and then you're like doing like cool action hero jumps to the side, to the right, to the like out of like through doors, like over ledges. It's really goofy, but at the same time, it looks cool as shit when like people are like jumping off of like ramps and like shooting on the way down. Like it's really, really fun. Like Call of Duty has always felt good to like run around and shoot in. And this new movement mechanic, like you can slide, you can jump, you can spin in circles, whatever. It really kind of kicks up the chaos of the multiplayer matches. And like we were having a absolute blast. So I'm kind of like really hyped for this to drop now. And the fact that it's going to be, including Game Pass is an even bigger reason to like actually spend time in it because I don't have to drop any extra money.
Hell yeah.
I played the beta too, and like that's a movement system. I don't really care for all the sliding and dodging because like I'm a Siege player. Like I don't you drop shot and I get irrationally angry. But it is funny though. Like there's like a map with like a swimming pool and people would like be diving out of the window into the pool and like smacking their head on the thing. It's pretty goofy. But the movement like. So like I guess to visualize it a little bit when you're playing like a first person game, like in most games you're moving this way, the four directions. But now with Omni movement, like when you're going straight and you want to like go to the right, it actually you can feel it in the controls now of like now my character is like correctly moving his leg.
Yeah, like he's twisting his hips and like moving at full speed just in the direction like, you're pressing now. Like it feels supernatural.
And instead of like when you walk backwards, if you're trying to strafe, you can strafe and like angle strafe now instead of just walking to the sides. Eric's zooming in on my dog's butts. But it's like a movement system that is definitely going to be copycatted across all first person games, I think, going forward.
Yeah, like
it feels right.
Yeah, it feels like why haven't we been doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was really impressed by it.
I will say though, there what's that map called? That's just a square. You know what I'm talking about?
Complex from GoldenEye.
The like the campaign looking place.
I guess. Well, campaign. It was like Aztec like.
Oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about then.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's just a map that's a square, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And if you go on the subreddit, everybody else hates it too. Get that map out of there. It's awful.
Maybe they did get out of it. I didn't even see an Aztec map. Like there was like a cave one. There was like the one that looked like some campaign speeches were happening in it. And then there was
I guess I didn't get to play the second weekend because I was here. So,
okay.
People are asking what's interesting outside. My Airbnb is literally on a busy street, so there's always something out there.
Yeah, they are locked in to that door.
Yeah, I don't know. They're doing their thing. I have to be very careful because like at the Airbnb I'm at, there's tenants that live in the basement. It's kind of creepy, but there's a studio apartment down there, I guess. But there's a gate, and they always leave it open. So I always have to go outside and tell the dogs, like, wait, and then I have to go outside and check it, make sure the gate's open, closed. Also, like, my dogs are very tall, and the fence that is in the backyard here, like, they're taller. Now what? I don't know. They're gonna do their thing. Anyway, what else are you playing, Casey, if anything?
Yeah, playing not too much else that at least I can talk about. But I did, for reasons, rewatch an old classic, The Last Dragon. I I mentioned this to Marty, and Marty was like, "What the hell are you talking about? I've never heard of this movie." And that kind of shocked me because this is like a childhood classic of mine. Like there are so many quotables from this movie that are just second nature to me. Like things will happen, and like my mind will finish the sentence with just shit from The Last Dragon, and I didn't realize how much of that happens until like I was like rewatching it recently. But essentially, it's a story of this young black kid from Harlem who has basically spent his whole life idolizing like martial arts movies, and then like going and training with an actual martial arts master, and is searching for like that final level of his training, right? So his master sends him back home and says like, "Hey, I have nothing left to teach you. For your final level, you have to go back out into the world and learn." And so he basically goes back home. He's like hanging out in the hood, and he finds out that his neighborhood has been taken over by this jerk martial arts dude named Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem, and he's just like destroying restaurants, like bullying people, and like because he's passive. He doesn't want to fight him at first, but he gets into this real crazy situation. Like it's a blaxploitation film. It's really over the top in terms of like its plot line, but it is so funny, and it has 80s/70s style kung fu in it. Like if you've watched like a Bruce Lee movie, it very much copies that style of martial arts in it, and it's good. Like the martial arts, the fight scenes are all very good. The situations are silly, but everything is done like very earnestly. Like it's got great music, a great cast. Everyone seems like they're having a lot of fun with their characters and their roles and stuff. If you've not seen it before, I would highly encourage it. It's still like a really fun watch today.
Your recommendation had me add it to my queue, and then I looked up to the director, Michael Schultz from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And that
really
put it right to the top. Right to the top. There you go.
Really, I think it was like produced by like Barry Gordy.
Yeah, it's got some weird names associated with it. But yes, very excited to watch this.
Yeah, it's fun time.
What movie is this? It's called The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon, yes.
Dragon.
The Last Dragon, these nuts.
Well, that was the episode today. Nick didn't play anything other than going to bed. Casey, anything else?
No, that was it. I don't have anything else. Oh, you know what? I didn't watch this, but I did learn that most recent Ninja Turtles animated movie series, Mutant Mayhem, right?
Mhm.
That's what it was called.
The one that Seth Rogen produced or directed?
Yes.
Yeah.
That has an animated series that has come out for it, which I think is on Paramount. Yeah, I had no idea, but I saw a clip of it recently. It looks cool as shit. Like I need to get access to this. Like it looks really freaking good.
The movie was really good. Paramount, right?
Yeah, it's on Paramount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paramount still exists.
Paramount Plus.
For now,
Isn't it getting immersed into something? What's it getting immersed into?
Well, we'll see. Very soon. Probably something.
Yeah, probably something. Yeah, watch this while you can, because who knows what's gonna happen to it in a couple more weeks. I need to get on it.
Off, sort of bouncing a little bit off animation. Did you ever watch Chainsaw Man?
Yeah.
Oh, so I watched it for the first time, and I just finished it.
Mhm.
It's really cool, and now I'm reading the manga like a fucking weeb.
It got you so invested that you went to the manga?
Because I'm like, this is gonna take fucking forever for them to finish. Like they're gonna put one season out every 3 years, and I'm like, I just got to see where the story's going. I'm like, what's going on with this Gun Devil? I need to know what's going on with the Gun Devil.
Yeah, like it's a bunch of
characters
really
I don't
cool.
trust, and I want to make sure I don't trust them for the right reasons. So that's why I'm reading the manga. Yeah.
No, it's a good time. Like this is one of those, because a lot of more recent anime is like getting really, really popular, but are being kind of shitted on in terms of like their plot. They're saying like, oh, this is just cookie cutter or whatever. And that's true for the most part. But the animation quality has been like up through the roof. Like this is one of the most beautiful anime series that have come out in the last couple of years. So like for that alone, watch it. But like I do think it's a little light on like a really compelling story. Like it's fun, but
it is. I went through like a little journey on the main character is just such a fucking dipshit, and I'm like, this guy is like, if I knew this guy in real life, he would be so unlikable. But the fact that his like core, he's got two motivations, and it's I want to eat bread with jam and I want to touch a boob. And those are his only motivations in life.
He's a simple man. Yes.
He's a simple man. And there is something about those like incredibly simple stakes of this is all I want is I want to touch a boob before I die and I want to eat bread with jam. And I just
like that's how shitty his life has been to this point. That these are his goals in life.
His goals. And it's it's a lesson for all of us to just don't reach for the stars. Like reach for the bedside table near you. Because you'll probably grab it. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, pretty cool. Nick, what about you? Watching?
Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of time. Just obviously traveling and I'm gonna be a snob for 1 second here because I've been trying to play Rainbow Six Siege, and I did not bring any of my monitors with me, which are 120 hertz, and I'm currently using a 60 hertz monitor, and it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough, guys. I just can't. Like, it's upsettingly like.
So what is the issue? Please try and break this down for a pleb like me who actively plays on 60 frames per second in pretty much everything I do.
When you go to, and it's just for first person games, when you go to like 120 hertz, you just can't go back because like the input delay is so much lower. So when you're playing a Twitch shooter like Siege, 60 frames per second feels like I'm delayed all the time.
So you actively feel like when you press well, you're playing on a mouse and keyboard. Maybe that's what the difference is.
Because I'm normal.
Because with a controller, I think there's always an inherent amount of delay.
There is always an inherent amount of delay. Yeah.
Maybe just play with a controller. Maybe that'll solve your problem.
No. I'm upset. A new season started on Siege. I can't keep up because my hertz is too low.
Just hold the corners. Stop swinging the rooms.
Oh, I gotta be sweaty. That's why the AC's turned down so low in here. No, but the game I have been playing and enjoying quite a lot, especially with the stress in my life right now, is Caravan Sandwich, which is a very lovely Strand-like game, is how I'd best describe it.
That's not a real genre.
Yes, it is. What are you talking about? It's absolutely a real genre. It's the most real genre there's ever been.
But it's got a beautiful art style. Like I just want to explore every nook and cranny of the world. And basically the premise of it is you get you're up on a spaceship and you get a distress signal from, I believe, your mother, and you're going down to go find her. And apparently everybody else thinks she's dead. You don't. And so a lot of the gameplay, which prefaces there isn't a lot of gameplay in it. It's very like travel around, pick things up, talk to people, read notes, maybe some
gameplay to me.
Just not. Don't go in like expecting like full environmental puzzles like you had in Death Stranding kind of thing, where you like really had to figure out how to get around. This is more like
this has
a
less gameplay than Death Stranding. You're saying
Death Stranding has a lot of gameplay. KC, don't you do it? Yeah,
I didn't say it had no. I'm just trying to differentiate.
Also, I wanted to slide in when you said your mother, and I wanted to slide in and say your mama, because mama is the name of a character in, not like yo mama, but your mama.
That was 100% saying yo mama.
Mama is the name of a character.
What's funny? This is all connected. In The Last Dragon, there's a hilarious scene where the main character is fighting some goon, and he kicks the knife out of his hand, and the guy responds by saying, "Your mother."
See, the Strand genre lives.
God,
that's Hideo Kojima created the Strand genre that exists throughout this podcast. Caravan Sandwich. I've had it downloaded on my Steam. Can I Steam Deck it? You think?
Yeah. They verified it on there.
Oh, yeah, brother.
But yeah, it's like just a just a great vibes game so far with a really beautiful soundtrack. Just very relaxing game.
Yeah.
It was putting me to sleep last night. I was so relaxed playing it.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm very much excited for it. A lot of games coming out now. My backlog is just cranking up.
Yeah, the amount of review copies we have right now is just insane. We can't even keep up.
DMG
the game I want to jump into next is Inatria: The Last Song, because we played that during Steam Next Fest. It's that Souls-like that's set in Spain, and it was surprisingly good. Like it was kind of like on I wouldn't say it was like quite up to the level of Liza P, but it's close. Yeah, from what I played from it. Like especially the map design. The map design was actually better than Liza P, because Liza P doesn't really have much of that looping map design that you really like in Souls likes, but this one does.
Liza Paella. Paella is a Spanish dish.
Would you, from what you've played, would you say Inotria is following more classic Souls, or is it branching off to like one of the more parry heavy, or what they call it? It's all of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's
like the rally system sort of thing, like the countering weaponry, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got you can parry. It's got a big parry system in it. Still the iframes and all that stuff too, though. So very much worth checking out, I believe.
A lot of games.
Though. And then of course I finished. I don't remember if I said on podcast last week, but I did finish Space Marine 2. Yeah, I did talk about that last week. I don't know what happened last week. That was a long time ago. I was in a whole different house at that time.
There we go. Yeah, I have Space Marine downloaded. I wanna just jump in and like crank through that some weekend. We got a bunch of other games playing instead. Some little monster boy. Is that it? Did we do good? Did we actually make this a nice succinct podcast?
We might have.
The length of podcast should be.
What do you mean? The rewind was like 2.5 hours yesterday.
That's too long. We also do it once every 2 weeks. That was the first one in 4 weeks.
You're with Darren. You're with Darren. That's lucky you're not going 4 hours.
That's true. I feel like Darren feels bad, and now when I ask what have you been watching, he pares it down to like 3 or 4 things.
Oh yeah.
And he's not like, here's literally everything I've been watching.
Go look at my Twitter. You can see everything I've watched for every minute of my life.
You should look at Darren's Twitter if
it's really good.
Yeah, Darren has a great Twitter.
Darren's really great. Also, go watch the most recent backdrop that Darren and Omar put together on the life of James Earl Jones.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, R.I.P. to a great.
You're truly a voice of a generation, like a voice of a pop culture. Several generations that goes way beyond just like Mufasa and Darth Vader. Really cool shit. Everyone jumped that week.
Jumbly Bob maybe did mention Rebel Ridge. I did watch that. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that came to Netflix.
That yet, Casey?
No, yeah, I saw the trailer and was like, "Yup, put it on the queue," but I've not gotten to it yet.
Good shit. Really enjoyable. Yeah, we talked about it at length on the Rewind, but yeah, highly recommend anyone with Netflix check that out. It just feels like an all quadrants movie, like a revenge movie about someone who is incredibly wronged by corrupt police officers and what he does to try to settle that score and bring some peace to the town that they are lording over. Just great action, great character moments. A couple. I don't even want to go in. Like we described this one, the moment I fell in love with the movie. We talked about it on Rewind. I don't even want to spoil it for people, but it's just really fucking good. So Rebel Ridge on Netflix.
Also a movie
highly
that
recommended.
It's a. I don't want to say defied expectations. It altered my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. I guess.
Yeah.
It's subverted your.
Subverted, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't
absolutely.
had my second Mountain Dew today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it is definitely because it is very much like cut from the cloth of like a First Blood Rambo kind of thing, but it is ultimately relatively bloodless in an interesting way. But yeah, good movie. Highly recommended. And then King Dead with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, King Dead. Darren adds at least 30 minutes to a podcast, and that is not enough. We'll see if I can
It's
trick
funny.
Darren into streaming the Lost video game with me next week because
boy.
it is the 20th anniversary of the Lost premiere next week.
You're gonna trick him.
How are you guys gonna celebrate? I'm gonna say we have an all hands meeting, and they'll be like, "Is your camera on? Because we're live now."
If you're gonna celebrate Lost correctly, you have to play Just Cause 2.
What? What does Just Cause 2 have to do with Lost? Is it just because both things have islands in them?
No, you can fly to the Lost Island in Just Cause 2. It's an Easter egg.
Incredible. I didn't.
You
actually-
literally, you
No,
will
we
literally,
played Just Cause 2.
if you fly a plane towards this island, it literally strikes you down and you crash on the island.
That's pretty funny.
That's the electromagnetism that's at the center of
awesome.
the island that the Dharma Initiative Swan
Yeah.
Hatch is obviously there to quell that every 108 minutes. Desmond Hume, obviously, after he crashed on the island, trying to do his solo race around the world to impress his love of his life, Penny Widmore, obviously her father, Charles Widmore, did not approve of Desmond being sort of a lowborn Scot. So he wanted to kind of win her honor by getting on his
What's
solo race around the
happening?
world, crashed on the Lost Island. Was tricked into becoming a member of the Dharma Initiative until Flight 815 finally crashed. Obviously, trying to bestow that onto
Void
John
America.
Locke and Mr. Echo, especially,
Void
who
him.
had Crisis of Faith at the end
Put him
of
in the
season
hatch.
2, which led to the implosion of the hatch, which obviously brought some of those electromagnetic powers to Desmond, who was able to sort of mentally go back in time at certain moments, which gave us the Constant, which several people have said is the greatest episode of television of all time. Casey, where can folks find you? What should folks check out?
What?
Greatest TV show of all time. Let me say, greatest TV show of all time. Far and away. The Wire, get the fuck out of here. The Sopranos, blah.
Like, just out of spite, I don't want to watch Lost now.
Yeah. So good. It is so good. Maybe I'll do a cheeky little rewatch before next week. I don't think there's enough hours to do a cheeky
Before
little
next week?
I finished Chainsaw Man. There's plenty of time. Yeah.
You have a game to play before next week. You ain't doing nothing
I'm 15 hours.
already.
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
I have not been sleeping. I have not
You
been
only
sleeping.
got it yesterday.
Thinking about Lost. Casey,
Jesus.
what do you got going on?
Yeah, you guys can find me online at Sigma Gears 9. Check out some of the recent little discussions that I've been on. Topical Punch is what we're calling the series. Me, Nick, Jay, and Jesse all talked about Deadlock earlier in the week or earlier last week. I don't remember. Time is a flat circle, and I can't comprehend it any longer. So just search the channel, see where I pop up. I should have a review on the way for Elsie soonish, as well as some other bits and bobs here and there. Me and the fiance will be back on Friday for more Undertale. Marty and I should be back to try to finish Devil May Cry 5.
You're not doing something in a month. I'm not gonna have any.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. We've not touched that game in quite a while.
We'll be fine.
So that might be rough. But if we play as Dante, everything will be easy anyway. So it'll be fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Outside of that, yeah, just follow the channel. Make sure you're following the Shorts channel as well over on Second Wind Shorts. Is that what that's named?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, search that, follow that, subscribe to that, check out the stuff that's over there. Those are clips, but also look at the originals. Just had a new one drop yesterday, I think. Looking at Duck Paradox, which is a game I did on Hidden Gems, and I still think about to this day because it was very fun. But that's all I got.
Hell yeah. What about you, Nick?
I believe some of us will be playing Helldivers 2 either tomorrow or Friday, most likely Friday. They just put out a big balance patch that made everybody very happy, and apparently they beat their previous peak player count because they stopped trying. Yeah, they've been interesting patches on that game. They keep trying to balance it, and everybody's like, no, let us have fun. And the developers are finally like, yes, we'll let you have fun. Here, everything's overpowered now. Go enjoy. Like, yes, that's what we wanted. And then next week I will have a new Unpacked video up on the state of indie publishing that I'm pretty proud of that I finished today. I think it was a pretty good script. And a long one. People ask me for a longer video, so you get a longer video from me.
Yeah.
Now I just got to work on my monotone voice so people in Discord don't yell at me.
Just do like a funny voice the whole time.
Yeah.
Just do like a
Hello. Do an impression.
This is the state of the industry.
That'd be kind of funny. That'd be pretty funny.
Goblin
do like your
voice.
Pauly Shore. Yeah, we got a bunch of great stuff. I mentioned the backdrop earlier. Check out Darren's and Omar's most recent episode. Check out the most recent episode of The Archive that went out on Monday. Java did an incredible job of bringing life to my script about Parasite Eve, which I argue that that was sort of the pinnacle of Squaresoft's creative apex in the 90s. And then speaking of Java, check out his incredible trailer for Metal Gear Untold. Speaking of beefy videos.
Wait. Oh my god. I can't wait for that.
That video is going to be a beefster. You think any of our videos are beefsters? That's going to be a true beefster. All about the Metal Gear series and Hideo Kojima's life and how it all ties in together. So excited for that.
Did you say it was like 45 to 50 minutes?
It's gonna be. It's a far and away the longest script I've edited.
I feel like I didn't even look at that script. I was afraid to look at it for how.
No, it's great.
I have to deal with that.
And it's one of those, like, as soon as I started reading, I could not put it down. So check out the trailer for that, and that will be in the near future, including and more original videos. If you liked some series that we launched recently, maybe a second episode of that will be coming soon to you. So stay tuned for next week. And then, like we mentioned, Casey and I will be back tomorrow night with Devil May Cry. Jack and I will actually be finishing up, one way or another, our Elden Ring journey tomorrow at noon Central. Jack will either beat the consort Radan, or we will just never play the game again. So that being said, it did get patched and he's easier now. And I'm not going to make fun of Jack, though, because I had to call in a player who was just like literally the greatest at video games ever to help fix me. So thank you.
Sometimes you have to.
You'll also get our PAX West videos next week, I believe. Maybe even this week. We'll see.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of fun PAX West stuff.
Omar got the first one in today, and it's got a goof in it that literally made me almost cry laughing. It's just so dumb.
Yeah. All sorts of great stuff, and a bunch of bite size in the works and everything. So very, very excited for all of that, for all y'all to check that all out. So for Nick, for Casey, and for Eric, of course, thank you all so much for hanging out and watching this episode of Firelink, episode number 37. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your Wednesdays, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Weeks of Firelink already.
Goodbye.
Mm.